I'm Craig Schaal, technical agronomist for Asgrow and DeKalb in Colorado.
And I'm Micah, Seyler, district sales manager for DeKalb and Asgrow in Colorado. And we are the Corn Profit Prophets.
We're here to give you agronomic tips and tidbits to help you maximize your production.
And maximize your profits.
You follow this agronomic advice, we're hopeful you too will become
a Corn Profit Prophet. Hi, I'm Micah Seyler, and I'm here to talk to you today about corn rootworm and the management of corn rootworm. A couple of things, it's the time of year is upon us where corn rootworm are going to start showing up in your fields, and as you can see here in this field we have a pretty bad infestation. So there's a couple of things to remember before I get into the scouting of them. Number one is best management practices for corn rootworm. Those would be either rotating, if you have a high pressure field, rotating out of corn into another crop like wheat or something that is not a host crop for corn rootworm. Number two would be using multiple mode of action products, BT products like Smart Stacks, to manage the rootworm populations. And if you do decide to use a single mode of action product, there's a lot of them out there, we would strongly suggest that you use a soil applied insecticide. So as you're out looking in your field, the easiest way to scout for corn rootworm is to take a spade, like I've got here, come up to the plant and make sure you get underneath the entire root mass. You want to do this because you want all the soil to come up with it, as I've done there. Now, as I said, this is a pretty bad infestation, but what you next want to do is slowly peel away the soil and search through it to look for any corn rootworm that may be living in the soil. There are three stages of corn rootworm, three larval stages. For the first instar, second instar, and third instar. And by determining what stage they are in, you can determine how much longer you have in your corn rootworm infestation before they pupate out and turn into beetles. Typically, beetles will emerge around the 20th of July, mid to end of July, and at that point it's best, with your best management practices, to manage any beetle populations you may have to prevent issues the following year. The next thing you do for rating your roots, if you do have an infestation like this, would be to take your plants and wash the roots off so we can count the nodes. So one other thing I want to mention about beetles is that after they emerge, some of the damage that they can cause are clipping of silks. For their eggs to be viable, they need to have a high protein source like pollen or silks. So if you see a large number of beetles emerging, that would be a good time to call your agronomist or your
local seed
dealer and have them come out and scout and potentially spray to manage those beetle populations. So what we've done is taken those roots that we dug up out in the field and washed them in a bucket of water. You can also do this at a car wash. And what we use to rate the roots is the Iowa nodal scale. It's based on a 1 to 3 scale, and what you look at is the uppermost 3 nodes, the total damage. So what we're looking for on these nodes is any root trimmed within 1.5 inches of the stalk. Anytime there's a root trimmed within 1.5 inches of the stalk, like these ones right here would be, it's considered 1/10. The rule of thumb is there are 10 roots per node up to a 1.0 maximum. Anytime you get over a 1.0, that's the threshold, and it's time to think about a rescue treatment or something like that in season. What we can see on this plant here, and what you'll typically see in heavy rootworm feeding, is regeneration of roots. The root system won't be very big underneath it, but it will have a lot of these bottle brushing, we like to call it, or smaller roots that will regenerate and will help you out later on in the season. Hey, you follow these agronomic tips and advice, and you too can become a corn profit prophet.